Hello and welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with a Disability Policy for All. Today we're going to talk with Senator Murphy about his policy priority for 2024. Thank you for joining us, Senator Murphy.
Liz, thank you very much for having me as part of this broadcast. Thank you for putting this on for people who want to know how they can step up and speak before state legislators and mayors and city councils and Congress. I've really been a proud ally of the disability community for the entire time that I've been in public service. And I get a lot of my passion for this topic from the work that my wife has done over the course of her career. She represented people with disabilities in Connecticut for a very long time, in particular children with disabilities who were not receiving the services that they deserved in school. And I saw, how many brilliant individuals lived in my state who were dealing with disabilities and often discrimination and prejudice that came with those disabilities. And so I've just tried to live my legislative career in a way to try to erase that prejudice, discrimination, and unfair treatment.
My first question is, what are your top policy priority for people with disabilities in 2024?
The first is to make sure that we fund the centers at the universities that work to help advocate on behalf of people with disabilities. You mentioned that these centers exist in every state. They are normally affiliated with a university, and these centers are really designed to be able to be a bridge between providers, people who do work on behalf of people with disabilities, government, which sets the rules that impact people with disabilities, and the community itself. And so these centers end up being a really important place for people with disabilities to be able to learn about what impacts them and learn how to speak for themselves. But these centers also help educate policymakers like me about what we need to do to advance the rights of people with disabilities, whether it be in the school system or in the workforce. So I lead the effort every year to try to convince my colleagues to put a big amount of money in the budget for university centers. This year, we've asked for $47 million in the budget, and we are keeping our fingers crossed that we will get somewhere close to that amount.
Thank you. Understanding the federal budget is very confusing for me and my friends and families of people with disabilities. In my introduction, I say you're on an important committee called the Appropriations Committee. Can you explain what appropriation means and what the committee does so me and my friends with disabilities can better understand how programs get funded?
Well, it's a really good question because we use these words in Congress that people don't use in the real world, right? When you decide how much money you are going to spend, you call it a budget, right? You're setting a budget for yourself. Well, that's what appropriations is. The Appropriations Committee writes the budget for the Congress, and we pass legislation that allows the federal government to spend money every year on tanks and planes and guns for the military, but also education for people with disabilities or healthcare for people who can't afford it. So every year, the Appropriations Committee writes the budget and allows for the federal government to spend money on all the things the federal government spends money on. And so I am a member of that committee. I help write the budget for the federal government every year. And as I said, I tend to speak up the loudest for the programs that help people with disabilities, whether it be those university centers that I talked about or money for schools through a program called IDEA, which funds programs for students with disabilities. So the Appropriations Committee is just writing the budget for the federal government, and I'm really proud to be a member of it. Also really proud to speak up on that committee for people with disabilities.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Murphy, for your time, and I look forward to talking with everyone next month. Have a great month. Bye.
Thanks, Liz.